So this is a quote by John Milton. The mind is its own place, and in itself can make a heaven of hell, a hell of heaven. A very good evening to all the guests and dignitaries present here. In this capacity, as your host for the worldwide webinar on mental health of young minds, I, Lakshmi, the host, would like to take this opportunity to extend a hearty greetings to each and every one of you. It gives me a great pleasure to extend a warm hello to each and every one of you gathered here today. It's a huge honor for us to have someone of this caliber here whose involvement on the topic of mental health of young minds adds so much value to it. Young minds are delicate, shaped by experience and influences. Nurturing their mental well being is crucial. It's about fostering resilience, building self esteem, and creating a supportive environment. Let's prioritize open conversation, early interventions, and accessible mental health resources for our youth. The future depends on it. Coming to the SEMS, so SEMS Welfare Foundation, a registered non-profit organization, is dedicated to social impact across various sectors. We focus on education, particularly skill development and entrepreneurship. Through our initiative, Digi Saksham, we have created training programs in IT, finance, retail, and entrepreneurship, impacting over 6,000 individuals. We are currently upskilling inmates in Haryana jail and collaborating with universities and colleges. We have also partnered with banks to place over 1,500 candidates in job. FEM Leads, which is another initiatives of SEMS, empowers women through workshops and stories of successful female entrepreneurs. We conduct programs on digital literacy, marketing, and career development, reaching over 1,000 women across multiple states. This initiative recently reached a milestone of 100 women actively involved. In just short time, SEMS has established itself as a force for positive change, equipping individuals with skills for employment and promoting women's leadership in various industries. Now, let me take this wonderful occasion to publicly present and welcome Dr. Diksha Sharma ma'am, the keynote speaker for today's international webinar. Dr. Is a founder of Enstro Life Neuro Art, which is a four-time TEDx and also a four-time TEDx speaker focusing on emotional intelligence and mental well-being. She has research experience in emotion of more than 10 years as a postdoctoral fellow at Cornell University, USA, and PhD in emotional intelligence from the Indian Institute of Technology, India. She has an MBA degree in human resources with engineering undergraduate degree. Also, the author of a book, Chapter in Nature, Emotions at Work. She has published many papers in the Springer, Sage, and many more. Currently, she is working on another book on emotional intelligence. She was a part of W.E. Cornell, a women entrepreneurial club at Cornell, and was also part of Cornell Multicultural Academic Counseling mentoring program, counseling and guiding PhD students. She was a co-guide to master students in her thesis on EI in the American workplace and also mentored an international undergraduate student from Australia as an intern. She worked on developing games for mental well-being and building a new EI model by collecting data from countries like USA, Australia, Canada, Israel, Dubai, and India. Her previous projects at Cornell include administering fMRI studies for balance and arousal of emotion. She was also selected for Cornell postdoctoral leadership program and Cornell faculty fellow for Engaged scholarship. She curated graduate students well-being sessions at Cornell and Grad SW. Also hosted a podcast, Student of the World, to communicate with students from different countries and understand how they are evolving regarding emotional health. Another initiative of hers is Heart and Mind, which focuses on creating awareness among students about mental health. She was the judge at the Synaptic Hack event by Simply Neuroscience, and she was also invited as the judge for poster competition. at Corner Diversity Program, Diversity ULSAMP conference. Her initiative, Enso Life Neuro Art, is a meditative experience platform with art, sound, and texture therapy to revive and train a mind. She curates sessions and events for startup, corporate firms, and academic institutions for organizational behavior, emotional well-being, and emotional intelligence. There are many gems and diamonds in the world, and one of them is here today to help us build this event. With this note, I, Lakshmi, on behalf of SEMS Welfare Foundation, would like to give my heartiest welcome to Dr. Deeksha Sharma, ma'am, with a huge round of applause for joining us today. Your presence has added the significance of this event, and we are genuinely honored to have you here, ma'am. We are looking forward to an informative and enjoyable event ahead. Ma'am, now over to you, ma'am.
Thank you so much, Lakshmi. I think it was I'm honored that the way you explained about me, and I had no idea that, okay, these are the things I've done. So thank you so much for doing that. And I think we should not talk about you and I more. I think it's all about the audience. So first of all, thank you so much for everyone to join this event. So I'll get back to the point that why I asked you to do it, because I'm coming for this session. First of all, thank you so much, Sam, for organizing this. Secondly, when I'm here and I'm talking to you guys, you'll be like, oh, somebody's coming with so many credentials, and thank you, Lakshmi, of talking about those. But that doesn't matter at all. You know why? What matters is your emotions. And if I'm not able to connect with that, I'm not able to connect with what exactly are your needs and what are you looking for in the session is of no use. So this session is for you guys, and this session is only you. That is the first take I want you to have. All right. Now, secondly, thank you so much. We got an overwhelming response, and I think the team of SEM, like we had Lakshmi and we had Rimpa, we organized, like we had a Google form and we circulated it. And within 2 days, we had more than 95 responses. Thank you so much. And I read each one of them where people wanted to be anonymous. They wanted their name to come on. And somewhere I read all the queries one-on-one. And we then, designed 11 questions, which Lakshmi is going to ask me. And every one question will be included. If that is not the case, if you still feel that in the end of the session, you're totally welcome to ask that particular question. And having said that, I will tell you. So we also had the queries which you're going to ask in this session. The second thing was we asked you that how you're feeling today. So there were people where there were about 56 responses which said that we are feeling emotionally strong. So whoever wrote that, I'm proud of you guys that you're doing really well. Then 35 responses said that we are emotionally confused. You know what? I'm in awe of you guys that you're brave enough to say that I am feeling confused. I don't know what I'm feeling. Because most of the time, people dodge this question. No, I am strong. Nothing is happening. Emotions, it doesn't matter. But I am so proud of you that you're able to cater to that. That maybe I'm feeling confused. Maybe something is happening within me, which I need to focus on. So I'm happy for you guys. I'm really proud of you. And 4 responses said that we need help and we are here for you to give you that particular help. In case if you find the answers of the questions you're looking for, great. And if you don't, you need to get some medical assistance, or you may need to talk to somebody who is your family or your friends, or even like somebody like, a therapist. Now, having said that, I will get back to Lakshmi and we can start the questions.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, sure. So one second, ma'am. So, ma'am, the first question is understanding mental health at corporate.
Okay, yes. So I think this question was given by more than 2 to 3 people, and they just wanted to ask, like, how to maintain your mental well-being at corporate setups. Now, having said that, it's a very subjective question, okay? In which field you're working? Are you in academics or are you in like proper corporate? Inside the corporate, if you're in sales, marketing, or you're an entrepreneur, you're a founder, or you're in a founding team, or you are a manager handling 3-4 projects or one project, how many team members you have, or how many people you are reporting to. So there is no equal to MC square for this. And having said that, the first important thing is whenever you're joining a corporate or whenever you're joining or going for a job, just look into the JD. That is the job description. What exactly is required out of you? All right. Second is the number of working hours. You need to be very clear with your manager that what is his or her expectations and what is your expectation around this. Because see, two things come aligned. Like Saturday, Sunday, maybe you need to relax, but there are many people who are ready to work on Saturday, Sunday as well. So the communication is the key. You need to have that hard talk with your manager. You need to have hard talks even with your colleagues, who are trying to take up the work which you have done. Okay. So you have to make sure that you're very clear with that part of the communication. That solves almost 80% of the problem. 20% lies that how we work, how we are managing our time, how we are looking, work with the ROIs. What is the return of investment? Like, is this amount my salary? I'm okay with this kind of a salary and the kind of time I'm giving to this work. Secondly, this is the work I love to do, or this is I'm doing it because I have to earn money, the basic livelihood. You need to understand that part. And having said that, as already Lakshmi just talked about my book, so the culture of emotion, where I'm talking about is emotional intelligence at workplace. If you want, you can just have a look over there. EI, which is emotional intelligence, is the ability to understand your emotions and others' emotions. So, for example, you are in a team where you have some managers, you have a boss, you have a junior who is also, reporting to you. So you have lot many connections, upward, downwards, horizontal connections. So it's a lot of threads in there. Just think like that. And even one thread gets strangled, the whole system can, backlash. And for that, you need to understand that what is the balance. And the balance comes first with the communication, how you're communicating. And to have making sure that you create that kind of boundaries with people. They need to understand that, you can talk up to this limit with you and not above that or beyond that. There are a lot of more things, and we're gonna take those things within the questions which are gonna come later. But I will love to go to the second question now, Lakshmi.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, sure. So the second question is understanding the mental health of students.
Yes, so we tried to. This is a generic question which we actually designed, but the basic idea was there were so many people who were asking. Like for example, there was a query that what should I do? The market is really low, and I'm not able to get internship. There was another question that I'm not able to get a job, and I'm very young. There was another question where I am not able to connect with people around. So that's why we just took all the questions into one, and I hope those people are here whom we are trying to cater to, and we'll try to be as much responsive as we could be, because for me, mental well-being of students is very close to my heart. I have been doing that in IIT and at Cornell and at many universities at the moment, at ISC as well. And I find, that is a time when you build your confidence and your personality because you're out of home. You're building something which is a little bit different away from your home, like, coming out of the nest and trying to build a community or something which is going to talk about your abilities and skills personally and professionally. So many people talked about not able to connect with people and find community of their own. So this is the problem of sense of belonging. You are somewhere in, but you don't feel like belonged. You feel like, I should do this, I should do that, and you want to have that sense of validation, but you're not getting that. Okay, let me try music, let me try this. Oh, I will do this, then I will have more people who will validate me, maybe on social media, maybe on Instagram, or maybe in real time. And then the biggest problem with the students at the moment is the problem of loneliness. Loneliness is such a big issue, and I think it's just not students, it's with everyone. You feel lonely. Okay, now there's a difference between understanding the concept of being lonely and being alone. So if you're alone, you can enjoy your company, watching a match, listening to music, Netflixing, or just lying down and thinking about the world and just enjoying the time. That is being, the time when you enjoy your own company, being alone. But lonely is when you have everyone around you. Maybe you are like a student who is in the college, who goes back to home, and that person still feels alone. The parents are there, you feel alone. You are with your group in the hostel, you feel alone. You're working on a project together, but somewhere down inside, you feel like you're by yourself. You need to understand that you're not alone. Trust me, every one of us have felt it one way or the other form, but I'm trying to tell you, we are not alone. We all feel that feeling. The only thing is that we should not get overwhelmed by it. So there's a difference between reaction and response. Don't react to it that, oh my God, I'm alone. You get panicky. Oh, nobody's there for me. Because, how socially our identities are made is that we always need somebody to fall back on. Whatever we say, we need it. Okay. That's the way the humans are made because we are social animals. Now, when we don't find that, so there's a part in the brain called amygdala that goes into fight or flight mode. Oh my God, I'm not safe. I don't have somebody to rely on emotionally, physically, financially. Oh my God, oh my God. And because of that, there may be some things which can impact you, and we're going to talk about those later on, that can impact your physical health as well. So there can be issues which are related to your families. There can be issues which are financial, which can maybe something related to your academics. You're not getting good internships. You're not getting good, jobs. And we're going to talk about this in one of the other questions where we're talking about the uncertainties. Okay. But coming back to the question about well-being of students, the first thing is to understand what you're feeling. Secondly, you're not alone. Trust me, you're not alone. There's so many of us, just not the students. We all feel alone most of the time, and you feel so scared when that feeling comes in that, oh, I'm alone. All right. So don't worry. Just try to write down what you're feeling, how you're feeling, and just imagine that you're in a boat, but you're not looking at each other. You feel that you're alone in the boat, but there are 100 people in the boat. So all of us, whoever you here are, we're in the same boat with same sense of insecurity, same fears, but we feel, oh my God, we are alone. That's not the case. All right. So Lakshmi, can we go to the next question, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you for addressing it. So the next one is how to identify if we have a bad mental health.
Oh, yes. I love this question. I think how many people ask this question? Yeah, 5 people ask this question. That what are those pointers where we understand that, oh, we are going through something. And I'm so happy that all of you, first of all, you're here to understand more about mental health. And the questions are so beautiful and so raw. That we want to know that what are the things which we feel like, are we actually going through something? What will be those pointers? And I will also like to say one more question which I'm trying to mix with this, that there was one person who wrote a question that that how stress impacts your physical and mental health. So we're going to have these two questions together, and what my answer is that it's very subjective, guys. Okay, there might be time when you are going through depression or you're going through mental health crisis, which can be any. Okay, there is one person who gets into the sense of numbness. They don't feel anything. They don't feel the love of their family. They don't feel the sense of connecting with anybody. There is no human connection. They want to connect with maybe their spouses, girlfriends, and boyfriends, or maybe their kids, their parents, but they don't feel that connect. There's nothing left in them, and they're like, why this is happening with me? This is first. Second is getting overwhelmed. Like on the other side, getting so angry, crying all the time, not able to manage your emotions. So these are two different extremes. Okay. What I'm trying to tell you is that whenever you feel that you're going out of your character in explaining your emotions, then definitely something is going wrong with your mental health. And it does not mean that, oh, something serious has happened. You need to go to a doctor and you get your head open. No, it can be very small, soft cues, which is just the beginning of something, which is just psychological, but can impact your physiology also. So, for example, there are people who get into palpitations, heartbeats, pop, 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 and you're like, what's happening? I am doing everything fine, but it happens like that. Secondly, weight gain. That's one of the concern with most of the women. It happens, and it's not because they're eating, it's because of the stress. It's stress induced, especially with women. It can be menstrual calendar getting all fudged up. With men, it can be your hair loss or belly, protruding belly. And that is not just because what you're eating. It's also because of the stress, because that's the way your hormones are dancing around, and they're giving wrong signals to all of your organs to work in a haywire way. So in these situations, when something is happening where your weight is increasing or decreasing, so anything physically happening, or when you're reacting and responding to situations which you were not doing in the past, that is the basic observation, a very soft cue to understand that, oh, something is happening with me. Or maybe there may be an intervention of your friend that, dude, there's something happening with you and I don't know what's happening. You are reacting like this. You were not like that a long time back. So you need to focus on that, that, oh, there's a change in me. And if you are brave enough to acknowledge it, as I already mentioned, that when about 35 responses told me that, they're emotionally confused, I'm so happy, guys, because you actually are acknowledging it, that there's something happening. What's happening, you don't know, but something is happening, right? So start writing down that, oh, physically, these are the things, mentally, these are the things. I'll tell you what, most of the time, we are being told that if you're feeling low, go for a walk and everything will be fine, right? It's a good thing. So your mental health impacts your physical health. But it's it's opposite also. Like physical health is also impacting mental health. So if you're fit, most of the times your mental health will be good. But there might be some times when your emotional health is not good and it is impacting your physical health and you can't do anything about it. In India, people who are suffering from diabetes, is just not because of the sugar intake, the spike in the glycemic index. That is just not because of what you're eating. It is also because of stress. Stress induced diabetes is so prevalent in India. If you see a man who is running a business, who's having a lot of tension, that person might have this. And a woman, even a household woman, but going through a lot of stress because she has gone through a lot in her life, she might be feeling the same. It's not that because the kind of food they are eating, it's happening with. So the first thing is, don't get into that guilt trip. Oh my God, the way I work or the way I eat is very wrong, and that's why I'm feeling this. Please start balancing your physical and mental health at the same thing. Just like your heart, your brain is an organ. It's an organ. You have to respect it as much as you respect your heart. All right. And there is no guilt about it. You need to understand those specific cues. So the question, which was like how physical and mental health are connected with the stress, I hope I have answered those. If you have more questions, you can talk to me even after this, maybe on LinkedIn. Would love to answer those. Yes. Over to Lakshmi.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So next one is how to handle the fear of uncertainty.
Oh, this is another beautiful question, and thank you guys for asking that question. So there were people who were asking about the sense of insecurity in their job first, who were already in the job. There were people who asked the same question for getting a job, and there was one question which touched my heart, and that was about someone in the family passed away and how to manage that. So everything, all this, comes within the fear of uncertainty. All right, these are the things which are not in our hand, just not in our hand, and I have no explanation for it, and I'm not in a position to give you an explanation that this thing happened. So let's not focus on what happened. Let's focus on what that event will cause to you. Okay, this is the event, and what and how you will get impacted. Again, difference between reaction and response. So losing someone is one of the worst feeling, okay? And it's not easy to handle. But with time, one has to evolve and have to come out of it for the other family members or for themselves. They have to find some kind of a motivation in themselves, right? Now, having said that, there was one saying where you have an inner circle and an outer circle. Okay. Inner circle are the things which are in your hand. You can focus on them. You can have a guilt about them. You can regret those things. That can be what you do about it. So, for example, somebody talked about that, I'm not able to get a job. So the inner thing is that, okay, let me work on it in a very analytical way and find out why I was not able to match the JD, the job description, or why they did not selected me after having 4 or 5 rounds of interview. If you work on that with emotional intelligence, that you manage your emotions, you keep your overwhelming emotions at bay, and use your emotions to focus on what do you want to get, that way is you're working in your inner circle. What you can control is how you can improve on skills and abilities, how you can react or respond to a situation. That is inner circle. And the case of losing someone, definitely it takes eons to, and it'll never go. That kind of grief never goes, and it is unscheduled. It'll come on an unscheduled calendar. Trust me. If you think like after 6-8 months you feel okay, it'll hit you hard maybe after 2 years. You have no idea grief will come with the back door and hit you hard. So you're never prepared for it. Okay. That's the outer circle. That's not in your hand. Things which are not in your hand, like market, how the market works. Maybe your manager is not. Maybe one of your family member is really rude. Or maybe you are in a place where you don't feel connected because somebody in that group is really demeaning and devaluing. You cannot change somebody, right? Or there's somebody who is like so much into gender biases or racist. You can't do anything about it. What you can do is you can only control the inner self. And that is, you can leave that. You can try understand what's happening within you. You can try understand your grief that yes, it was a huge loss what I went through. I'm not feeling good about it. I don't know how I'm gonna work, but I have to get up to make sure my family is fed, or maybe I'm fed, right? That's the inner circle. So if this inner and outer circle theory works with the fear of uncertainty, because fear of uncertainty, I think we need that too, to work, to have that little bit of stress where we are always motivated. So again, how you're using these concepts which we see as negatives or as fears in your positive side is something which we need to do, and that is what emotional intelligence is about. Now, it's easier said than done. It's easy to talk about it, but it's very difficult to do it. Trust me. So it takes a lot of training of your brain, your mind, and soul to do what I'm trying to tell you. And trust me, even I am learning. I'm also in the process of doing that. Every time you hit something, something bad happens. And then you're like, oh my God, I thought that I have trained my mind for this trauma, but it's not working for me for the second trauma, right? It happens. Then you evolve, you pivot, you change. You need to understand every time you get hit by something, don't get scared. Just understand your feeling and the situation. And always remember that you can come out. And it may look that, oh, I have already done in the past, so I'll be okay with that. It's not the way our body works. It's not the way our mind works. Trust me. Every situation will bring you another learning, okay? So with that take, we'll go to the next question. Yes, Lakshmi.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. So the next one is how we can help our loved ones who are going through depression.
Okay. All right. Why I made sure that this question remains here in this particular session was because that, I will tell you that it's my personal experience where I felt that if you have somebody in your family or your loved one going through depression, anxiety, or any mental health issues or emotional well-being issues, you also get affected. So the first thing is that you should not get hurt or you should not get scared, because it's a very sad situation. You don't know how to help the person, but you want to help that person, but that person will not listen to you because that person is not in the state of mind. Okay, so the first thing is, don't get hurt by that person, because hurt people hurt all the time. So they're gonna hurt you, but make sure that you take it, those things, with a pinch of salt, I should say that. Okay, that's the first thing. Second thing, which is very important in this, is that you need to have patience. You need to make sure that it's not going to go away in like 1 month or 2 months. Trust me, if you have somebody who's going through depression, that person may not be ready to go to a therapist, for another 6 months or 1 year. What are you going to do? So you need to have patience, because going to someone like an expert, that person should be ready to go. All right. So first is the patience. Second is, don't get hurt in the system, because that person, whatever that person is trying to say to you, is just to make sure that you're hurt, because that's the way that system is working within him or her at that point of time. But that is not the real them. Okay. And very important, don't judge yourself or the other person, or don't stereotype it. Oh, this is going to stay like this forever. Aisa hi rehne wala hai. No, it's going to change, but it's going to be a step-by-step process. Maybe you have to take the first call. You have to do a lot of work. And then maybe after a few months or maybe a year, you may see some changes in that person. So I'll tell you what, this is not something which is going to happen like this. It's not Thanos thing. It's more like it's going to take a lot of time. You need patience to understand what is the situation. Is it very serious, or is it moderate situation, or it's something which can be handled at home? If it's very serious, then definitely you need to talk to a therapist or a psychiatrist or a neurosurgeon or something to talk about it. And if you feel it's not, then definitely if something can be worked out at home just by talking, please do. And make sure at this time that person remains safe. Because when you're low, I think everybody would have felt it in one or the other time. When you're low, you might get distracted, or you might get attached to something which can harm you. All right. So your loved one can get harmed, because that person will tend to do that. Buddhi brushed ho jana, which we say in Hindi, right? So the mind is totally on the destructive side, and you may do something which may harm you. So you have to make sure that person is safe. They might get connected to some strangers. They might do something wrong. They might get into some kind of addictions. So you have to make sure that you have the patience, and you need to keep an eye that this is not working. And trust me, it's not an easy process. It takes a lot of patience, it takes a lot of love to do this. But honestly, once you are done with this, your relationships grow stronger. Okay, you are stronger, the person is stronger, the relationship is strong. Okay, so thank you for the question, Lakshmi. Let's have another question.
Thank you, Diksha ma'am, for answering. So the next question is how to balance work life and personal life.
Oh, okay. So I love this question. I've been asked
Yeah,
this question so many a times, but I will just say that, this is a question which we ask and we try to answer all the time, like in books, everywhere, and there is no solution to it. Have you ever felt that? This happens.
yes, that's true.
Yes, because there is no solution. Trust me, I'll tell you why. First, again, there is no equal to MC square, meaning there is no universal solution to it. Every job is different, every person is different, their skill set is different, the way they work is different. What I want to tell you is that don't get into that static mode that, I have built this 5 hours of work, 2 hours of workout, 1 hour for this. And if it doesn't happen, you get panicky. Oh, my work life balance is all gone. No, there might be a case like one day, maybe on, for example, maybe on Monday night, you're working like for a very long time on a project and it ate all your hours. So as in the morning, you couldn't go for a walk. It's okay. Shift, pivot. The only thing is your intent matters, that how you want to work around it. Instead of like, running behind the work life balance, enjoy every moment. If you're working, enjoy it. Make sure that you do note that, your health is not good, or like maybe you're having some palpitations while, going above the stairs, or you're not taking stairs, you're only going with lift. All these small things can be worked around. Like maybe, for example, you were not able to do your workout because of the work. Just go for, instead of taking the lift, take stairs. Simple thing. For example, you just realize that in a day you just drank 2 to 3 glasses of water. That's it. No problem. Relax. Don't get panicky. Next day, drink more. Okay. So always take things with a lot of love and enjoyment for yourself. Once you start doing that, trust me, you will tend towards a good work-life balance. And there's no perfect work-life balance. So in mathematics, it's being said limit tending to. So it's always tending to infinity or tending to zero. So it's always tending. You will never reach infinity. So you will never reach to a perfect work-life balance. Whomever you see on social media, any woman like balancing everything, any man balancing everything, that's not the case. You're always juggling with things. So just make sure you're prioritizing the things in your journal and making sure at least those things are getting done in the day. Other things which are like secondary, they may or may not work for you, and it's okay. You can shift. So, first thing, there is a myth that you can achieve a work life balance. There is nothing like that. Increase your productivity for yourself, increase passion for your things. What do you want to do? More. Maybe you're listening music. It's okay. You can do that. You don't have to be stringent about it. Okay. So just relax and don't get, intimidated or like, oh, I'm not able to do these things. Look at these people. They're so perfect doing everything. They have planners, they have schedules. Trust me, things doesn't work like that. If you have ever curated an event, have you ever seen like so much mess happens at the back? And it's okay. It's supposed to happen. The intent is at the end, everything happens smoothly, right? It's same with life. If before sleeping, you should feel relaxed. Okay, everything happened. I tried my level best. Next day, I'm gonna get better. So please understand this. This is not a competition. There is no athletic event going on. Relax, take your time, just prioritize work, a little bit of your health, and you can just pivot in between the times. If it's not working on the same day, you can do it the next day. All right. So don't be hard on yourself. That's what I want to say. So Lakshmi, next question.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. So next question is how to work around expectations and hope based on relationship.
Yes, I think we got so many questions, Lakshmi, on relationships,
Ah,
right? There was so
yes, ma'am. Yeah. Even I went through those questions. Yes, which is true.
Yes. Yes. So there were so many of them, and I appreciate you guys wrote those questions. And I will, before we talk about expectations and hope, I would love to read one question, which is anonymous. And the question was like, that I feel that person was telling that I know that expectations are wrong, that you should not keep expectations. But whenever that person breaks that expectation, I feel like crying. I feel low. And I just loved it. You know why? Because this statement was so raw and so open and so innocent. Because this trust me, I think everybody would have felt it one time or the other in your life that you feel like, my I was thinking this to happen, but that person just broke my heart because expectation didn't work out. It could be in any way, personal, professional, anything. And we all have gone through that. Okay. So let me work around the expectation game. Now, this is very interesting. Now, when we talk about emotional intelligence, we say that, oh, then you don't need to be emotional. But if you want to have high EI, no, that's not the way EI works. You need to be emotional, but you need to manage those emotions. They're two different things. Trust me, some people who are really emotional, they're way more stronger than people who don't feel emotions. Okay. Similarly, having expectations in relationships, be it any, your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, your parents, your siblings, maybe your kids, it's okay. As I mentioned earlier, humans are social animals. We cannot live alone. We don't have an army of a single man. We always try to do things in group. Even if you like it or not, even if you love to stay alone, there's so many people involved in making sure that your life is going okay, right? Maybe your mates, maybe you're talking to somebody, maybe you're getting a project done, anything for that sort. So the first thing is to understand that the game of expectation, if somebody's saying expectation, to honi nahi chahiye, there is no need of expectations. No, that's not the way the system works, because eventually you land up there. Everyone feels that somewhere subconsciously, because that's the way our social structure is built. Okay, we are not supposed to live single-handedly. We're supposed to be in communities, and our epigenics, that means the how the data is being stored from our ancestors, is actually signifying and signaling us all the time that if you're not part of the community, you're not safe. Okay. But it does not mean that you need to go in the wrong community or in the wrong audience. Don't do that. Don't do that. What I'm trying to tell you is expectation is a beautiful thing. You need to understand. For example, if you have, because we're talking about relationships, if you have somebody who takes you out for a dinner in a group of friends, and that person doesn't respect you, do you think it's a game of expectation or respect, or the basic essential thing of a relationship? And if you say, oh, I don't expect that person to respect me in front of his or her friends, and it's okay. No. So you need to understand it's not about expectation. Certain things are the platform. They are, you can say, they define how to build a relationship. Okay. Honesty, trust, loyalty. Okay. Taking care of each other. This is the basic things. This is not about expectation. We are trying to confuse the two things. Okay. And if somebody say, oh, I don't expect anything out of you, and I'm all right with that, that's not the way the brain works. And that's not the way our social construct for our identity and for the way we perceive the community works. So you need to understand that fine line. Expectations we should not have, but the moment we say that we don't need any expectations, and we get into the theory of detachment, then it's wrong. So now you will say, oh, detachment, we are supposed to feel detached. We read so many literatures. Let me refine it again for you. Okay. Detachment should be from your reactions, not from your identity. Detachment should be from the wrong extreme emotions which may lead to harm somebody. Detachment should be from the non-living objects or art of letting go. That should happen. But there should be certain attachment styles also, wherein that's the way you identify yourself. Your emotional construct in the family or with the people around gives you a lot of confidence, defines your personality, and you get better with time. So you need to understand these words, expectations and detachment, and don't go in extreme. If somebody has hurt you in the past, don't have this takya kalam that, oh, the theory is for the next relationship, I'll have no expectations and I need to detach myself. I need to have art of letting go. No, that's not the way it works. If you really want to build a healthy relationship, you need to have some kind of attachment. You need to have some kind of expectations which are subtle. And that should be in communicated mode between the two parties. You know what? I love this. You love that. Let's do this. Maybe I want to live in New York. You want to live in Tokyo. And we both can't do that. Okay, fine. Let's live in London. Small things. Okay. And you work for it. And that shows a lot. Your intent, your action actually defines how you want to go for an emotions. And having said that, there was one more question which I loved. There was somebody who said that, I still hope that somebody will understand my emotions. And I loved it, that this game, that somebody will understand me. And I'm trying to do that. Now I'll talk about the other thing. If you have somebody in your life who is playing with your emotions, please be careful, okay? Mistake can happen once, twice. But if it's more than 2 times, it's their trait, it's their intent. So please make sure you're out of that vicious loop and you take a harder call. Your worth is more than that getting into that gaslighting zone, okay? So make sure you take that step. If you are thinking for years, 4 5 years, that person will understand or I will change somebody, that will never happen. You can't do that, okay? So for a healthy life and a healthy decision, it is better you come out of that thing and start your life anew. So the thing is that if you're finding a relationship where, I always say this, okay, if it is impacting your mental health and they are mentally harassing you, physically harassing you, or it's a threat on your life, and above that, that person is cheating, these things happen, please move out of the relationship. Your worth is way more. And I know it's not easy because you have identified yourself with that relationship, because you have invested in that relationship so much, and you have started identifying your identity as a half life, or the better half of the other person, right? So it's very difficult to do, and I totally respect that. But see the bigger picture. It will take time. But if once you do that, you may land up with a person whom you will say, oh, this is the way people treat the other people. Oh, I never felt like that. So whenever I take these sessions, one-on-one session, I've taken a lot of one-on-one sessions, specifically on relationships, when I give those therapy sessions, and when they move out of it and they say, oh, I never thought that I can feel so good about myself. Or there'll be somebody who will respect me so much, or they can do this for me. They are like totally in a surprise mood. So you need to understand first thing that you need to respect yourself. And if you're doing something wrong, please take the onus. But if you're not, then make sure that you respect your own identity. So when we say aham brahmasmi, that's in Hindi or in Sanskrit, which means that, everything is within you. The first thing is to respect yourself before respecting others. You need to respect this body and this mind and soul, and then start doing things. And once you understand that, things will get. So yes, Lakshmi, we can have next question, please.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you so much, Diksha, ma'am. So the next one is, what are the social media impacts on health?
All right, this one is also a cool question. I think this question have been, I think, same question, okay? Same question is being asked with the United States, in Taiwan. I recently did one session at Amsterdam, same question with youngsters. And I feel this is so much important to address. So the thing is, if I say leave social media, that's not going to happen. We are not doing that. Okay, none of us is doing that, because this is the way our life is being woven. Okay, we are weaved around so much of data and so much of information, and with that information we are actually wheeling our life. If you see, right, if you see that how we work, if you want to order food, you want to apply for a job, or right now we are doing this session, anything, everything is connected to social media. You were on LinkedIn, you saw it, and that's why you're here, right? So what I'm trying to tell you is that we cannot avoid this, but you need to understand what's happening behind. So recently, I was on a Google event, and I met one person, and she was really fascinated what I do, and she was like, I want to know more. But I will tell you one thing, that whenever I go through mental health crisis or something like that, I read about it more instead of hiding or running away from it. And I was like, this is interesting, because most of the people don't do that. So what we're going to talk here is about that. Yes, social media impacts our mental health, but we will not avoid the question, and we will not say just leave it. We will try to understand what happens when you are on these social platforms. Okay, so I would love anybody to answer that. How many of you, when you take a piece of a cake and you take a first bite, it's yummy. Second, yummy. Third, yummy. Fourth, yummy. But by fifth and sixth, it's okay, because your stomach getting full. How many of you have ever noticed this about yourself? Anybody? You can just unmute and say, yes, Hare Krishna. Oh, thank you so much. Anybody else?
Me
Say
also.
Swab, it happens.
Yes.
It's a law of economics, that utility, law of utility.
Yes.
First,
Yes.
first
No.
chapati will give
Yes.
maximum satisfaction, and
Yes.
last chapati will not at all give the satisfaction.
Absolutely, Mr. Garg. Thank you so much for talking about.
Law of diminishing marginal utility to be specified.
Yes, marginal utility. And I was about to talk about that only. Okay. This is the funda. Thank you so much, guys. You're amazing. I loved your contribution. So the thing is that this is what is happening, okay, with the media. Now imagine yourself lying on a couch and looking at the reels, enjoying your time that nobody's looking at you and you're having fun. Okay, we all do. Okay, so the reel one starts. I don't like it. Second, third, fourth. You know what's happening? That media is controlling you. We know it, but we still do it, right? The first time when it's done, after a few seconds, when the data changes, so the context changes, right? So brain is taking lot many stimuli, right? Yes, the Viraj, it lead to lack of focus. Absolutely, I'm gonna be there. So and I'm loving this audience. Thank you so much. So if you have a context on the east direction, the second one would be on the west direction. So reel one is talking about east, the next reel will talk about west, and your brain is like, okay, I have to understand this. So the first reel is about like chill pill comedy, the second one is very serious topic, the third one is on the war, the fourth is on the economics, the fifth is on the gender bias. So many topics coming within few seconds. So what's happening? Your brain is not getting the time to even properly formalize and get connect the dots of your past experience and information to this stimuli. And what's happening? As already mentioned by someone here, Divya, who just mentioned that lack of focus. And you are training your mind to do that. All right. And the second most important thing is the level of satisfaction. The satisfaction will go down first, second, third, and your urge will increase. Let me see more, let me see more, let me see more. And this is a case with everyone. It's just not India, just not the United States, it's the whole world where you are spending so much time on Reel. So the first time Instagram came up with the concept of Reel and how it is being taken on LinkedIn as well now, there's a reason for that because there's more audience engagement. And they made it in such a way that, you are actually neuromarketing your platforms. And we are the ones who are, just absorbing that information without no context. There's no context to it. There is no processing of information. And our brain is like bluntly like being bashed with a lot of information. That's what is happening. Is it good? Is it bad? We don't know. But how our body is working around is that our hormonal activity goes up and down. The serotonins and dopamine levels go up and down. And that creates problem. It's just like fagging, like having a cigarette or drinking. You drink more, and then you are not feeling inebriated. You're like, I'll drink more, or I'll have more, cigarettes. And that is the way this invisible addiction is actually playing beautifully around the world. So the first thing is we cannot let it go. Okay, it is impacting our health from focus. It is giving a lot of anxieties to us. It is creating a lot of issues in our relationships. So for example, you read something or you saw a reel which is talking about some kind of fears in a relationship which is just not happening in your present relationship, but then your brain will try to connect the dot. I saw that reel, maybe this is happening with me. So this is the way our mind is being actually channelized to a situation where we are not supposed to go. I'm not asking you to leave the social media. We all can't do that. We have to be there. We have to be visible. That's the way. And after pandemic was a catalyst for just not mental health issues, but also for making sure that social media stays stronger. And it's going to stay like that. With an emergence of AI, it's going to go really outbound. So I'm not asking you to leave it, but to understand what's happening. So as I already mentioned, when I was in that Google event, and when that woman told me that whenever I'm feeling something, I read more about it. So don't have a fear of it that, oh my God, I'm going to lose my focus, or this is going to happen, that's going to happen. Just have a productivity note. Maybe have you can have a checker. There are so many apps on which you can have a checker that for this many hours you can watch a social media, then it'll go off. Find some things like that for yourself. If you remember how our mom used to do for us, this many hours you'll play, and for this many hours you'll sit and do your homework, right? She was our checker. Whether we liked it or not, she made sure that we sat for few hours in the evening to complete our homework, right? I know we all are adults now, but if you just go back and find some kind of app or platform where they can give you some check, and if you have some person where you can, maybe your spouse, your boyfriend, girlfriend, maybe your sibling, maybe it can be parent and child thing also. Like, a kid telling his mom that, Mom, a lot of reels, now you need to switch it off, okay? And mom telling him to do the same. It can be of any form. If you can build that kind of a relationship, like with someone who can actually intervene, do a lot of intervention, awesome. If you don't have somebody like that, you can have a lot of apps where you can have certain checks. Above and beyond, first you need to understand what is happening when you are looking at these social platforms. Once you do that, it'll work. Okay. So yeah, we can go for the next question, Lakshmi, now.
Yes, Diksha ma'am. So next question is how to build confidence.
Okay. I think this is a question which is being asked in most of the the professional development classes which I do. I do it for IITs and ISCs at Cornell also, and I find there's a basic outline. Okay, and just not for the students. Trust me, this comes beyond and above for people who are in their 40s and 50s who have already have amazing work experience or just experience of life. Okay, how does confidence work? Confidence work on our points which are our strength, right? And certain points which are our limitations also. So what I'm going to tell you is just have a journal where you can write your strengths as well as our limitations. Okay. Always look at strength. Okay, I'm good at this. This is the way I'm built. So for example, you are good in negotiate at a company. You're good. You're the face of the company. You know how to talk. You know how to make sure the clients come and they do work well, good. But you're not good at maybe the back end. It's okay. That is not a limitation. Okay. The thing is, you will write it that in limitation, but that should not put your confidence down when you are going for a team meet because you know your strengths. Same in your personal life. Or if you're meeting somebody, like in a personal or a professional setup, having that confidence, the first thing you should know your brownie points. Write them down. Even if I'm not good in English or if I'm not good in speaking, it's okay. But I know how to express well. Okay. Trust me, when you meet somebody, more than the language, it's about how you express. And it is very interesting. I think, and I tell most of the Indian students because they always have challenges around English, it's okay. It's all right. Because when we had, in the past, some of the researchers who were working on communication is the function of what you speak, your words, secondly, your expressions, and third is the non-verbal cue, that is your body language. And you won't believe 70% was given to the body language. That is interesting. So you need to make sure that who you are from wherever you are coming, you need to feel confident about. If you're coming from a land of farms, you're coming from a land where there's a lot of agriculture happening in India, maybe from a very small, cute, beautiful village. Just talk about it. Revere it. You need to talk more about it, and the people will be amazed. Oh my God, we have never had this kind of experience. I met somebody, I was like, when I was teaching at IIT Roorkee, there was a guy who told that who was from South India, who used to travel in the boat from his home to his school for his high school. And the moment he talked about it, he was very hesitant to say those words because he thought that people will make fun of him or something like that. But it was not the case. Everybody just loved his experience. He had that broken English because he comes from South India and he was having that South Indian slang. Nobody cared about that. They cared about the content and how genuine he was, how authentic he was, and how organic he was while telling his story. That when it used to rain, he used to get drenched in the water and he used to have more clothes. And I was like, okay, this kind of story I heard about Abdul Kalam. And he's the second guy whose story I'm getting to know. So I had more respect for him. So please understand and that you should be proud from where you're coming. Once you do that, things changes. The confidence come like this, okay? Your food, your culture, your family, anything for that sort, okay? This is one thing. Second thing is about limitation. So for example, at workplace or at certain things you don't know anything. For example, maybe you don't know some part or some platforms on learning about machine learning. Maybe you're a techie, maybe you're into software development, but you don't know certain things. It's okay. It's all right. Where are your weaknesses? Just say it. I don't know, man, but I will go back and I will learn and I'll get back. Okay. So that is very important. If you understand that you can view your weaknesses, you will be not scared of anything because you say, oh, I don't know. Yes, I don't know, but I will learn. And when I will learn, maybe I'll be better than you. Just keep that to your heart, but work on, okay? And always, have that proud moment from where you're coming, from your culture, your food, and everything. Why I'm emphasizing on this? Because most of the people lose the confidence here. I'll tell you about myself, okay? I'm an Indian brown woman. When I was at New York, people are thinking, oh, she's brown, she's from India, she might not know this and that and this and that, and that thing happens. But when you're wearing your culture from where you come, that India is a place of diversity and so many languages and food, and then you talk about it with such a confidence, they'll be like, oh, really? So they will get intimidated by your authentic experiences. So please have that kind of sense of, proud on yourself from where you come. And once you do that, the confidence build up. Okay. Why we lose confidence? Because we think, oh, you're not good enough for this community. Oh, we can't speak because if we'll speak, maybe the person will judge me. That is the thing, right? This will go away once we say, oh, I come from here and I own it. Once you own it, your limitations, from where you come, your identity, nobody has left with any space to judge you. Okay. They'll be like, oh my God. They'll be thinking, oh, I want to learn this thing from this person. All right. Because everyone feels the same. Again, we are in the same boat. Okay. So Lakshmi, can we have next question, please?
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. So the next one is how to manage sleeping issues due to overthinking.
Okay. I think it's already 8, so I'm going to just make sure that we wrap it up. So, talking about the sleep thing, I think 5 to 6 people talked about sleep. And if there are sleeping issues, so consciously and subconsciously, something is happening. Okay. And you need to work on it. What's that? Lakshmi, you want to say something?
No, ma'am.
Okay. All right. So the thing is that what happens, we take the whole day out. Somebody say this, somebody says that, and we just take everything. Some emails, some rude messages, some failed projects. Maybe at home, somebody's doing some sarcastic stuff with you. Okay. Something or the other happening. Okay. And then you're like, I will not cater to this. I will not cater to this. And then you go for sleep. Maybe that night you slept, but maybe after an year or something, it hit you hard. Out of nowhere, you start thinking about, oh, this happened with me. How I'm going to do this. Why? Because whatever input or stimuli you had, it's getting processed in your mind and it is impacting you subconsciously. So it was stored in your mind. Consciously, when you're having your day, it's not hitting you. Okay. But subconsciously it is. Just like grief, as I already mentioned, it has no calendar. This overthinking has no calendar. What you need to do is you need to work on a concept called art of journaling. Okay, that's the best way. Like if you want, you can talk to somebody. Even if you are blank, you don't need to have a reason to talk to someone. Like, just talk what you're feeling. And once you start talking, things will start coming up. It's very interesting. Before you start a conversation or before you start writing, like on a journal, any of the two, you'll feel, I don't need to do this because I don't require this, right? But the moment you start doing it, everything comes in flow. My suggestion to you is before taking any pills for it or before heading to a doctor, which will just prescribe some medication to you, it's better you work on your work, that how much work you do, how much workout you do, and how much time you take out for yourself, these 3 things. And above that, you do some journaling or talk about your emotions. Both the things are important, all right? There might be certain hormonal disbalances because of the way you're eating food, at what time you're eating food. Make sure at least 3 hours of gap is there. You're not taking any kind of caffeine. Even if it's a green tea, make sure it's a non-caffeinated one. Because in the night, if you're taking a caffeinated one, it's going to stay in your system and it's going to make you awake. This is the first thing. Secondly, make sure in case if you're not able to sleep, in the evening, you do some kind of exercise, like 3 hours before, maybe jog in the room or do some squats or anything, which just makes your body feel tired. Okay. The other thing is what you can do is you can have red light in your room or like the light. So 2 hours before you're about to sleep, maybe you're about to sleep at 11 or 12, make sure by 9 o'clock your room has a dullish light. Okay. That helps your circadian rhythm to understand body to, oh, I need to sleep now. Because light has a very important role with the sleep. Sun and our body, they are synced. And it is not from our ancestors. It is in our, again, it's in our genes. Okay. So these are few things which you can do. With overthinking process, you need to write it down. Then if that's not working, you need to talk to a friend or something. Just talk what you're feeling, what happened, small stuff. It doesn't need to be a big thing. Or when you start speaking, you understand what's happening with you. And if all this doesn't matter, then you can go to a doctor and talk about it. And then you can take some prescriptions for sure. Okay. So Lakshmi, next question.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. What are the myths and taboos around mental health?
Okay. This is the last question, but very important question. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. So actually, ma'am, sorry to interrupt you. So after this question, we have few more questions in the chat box. I think we can take it up for you. Is it okay?
Yeah, we can take few of them. Because
there are actually, I am able to see around 3 of them, 3 questions.
See, guys, if I am not able because I have another session coming up. I hope we Lakshmi, if it'll be great if you can just throw my LinkedIn to them and they can just
Yeah,
write
yeah, sure.
on the messages and I will try to answer those. Okay.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, sure, sure.
Do that by the time I answer this question. Okay. So after this, I'll take one question more. Okay. Because I have another session, but I will
Okay.
answer those three questions for sure. I promise you guys. But you need to throw those questions on my LinkedIn account and I'll definitely answer those. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure, ma'am. Yeah, thank you, ma'am.
Okay, so let me talk about the myths. Okay, so the first myth is that if somebody is having a mental health issue, the person has gone cuckoo. The person is mad. That comes from a generational gap thought process. In Hindi, I suppose everybody knows Hindi. If they don't, but I'll still talk about it. That person is wo pagal ho gaya hai. You know, that's the way we think, and that's very sad. I'm gonna come back to this point. But the second thing which is important is that this is something which cannot be solved. We cannot solve if something has happened with the mental health. That's another myth. The answer to that is no. You can, and it's not that difficult. It's just like so when we have palpitations or any high blood pressure issues, what we do? We go to the doctor, take the medicines, go for a walk, and try to regulate our heart, and we get better, right? Because heart is our organ. Similarly, brain is an organ. Mind is the projection of the brain. Having said that, mind is just when we think, it becomes mind when the brain thinks, right? It is just some chemical thing happening. When I always use this word chemical locha happening in the brain, right? Some chemical reactions happening, and that can be solved. Just like our heart, brain is an organ. Why to have so many myths around it that it cannot be solved or somebody has gone mad? No, it's not like that. Just like an uncle getting heart checked and getting some medicine, similarly somebody can get medicines for their something happening in the brain, and it's okay, it's all right. The most important issue is that this is a myth which we take in as that this is never going to be solved, in the sense that it's not going to get impacted on me, it's never going to come to me. ये तो मुझे कभी हो ही नहीं सकता, because this is not, I have listened about it, but this is, I think, just a woke term, and it'll not happen to me. The thing is, mental health never do any biases. It never discriminate between any gender, between any community, between any religion. It does not. It can come to your gate at any point of time without any discrimination. So you need to understand that this concept of mental health can come to you also. So you need to respect your own mind and body. The way you take care of your body, you need to take care of your mind as well. Okay, this is important. The other question was on taboos. So I will only give you one example which will suffice everything. Okay, and it's a very sad example, but I would love to share that. So there was a girl. Okay, I knew her, and at the time of COVID, I was back in New York, and then she used to write to me. She was one of the IITs, and she said that I'm going through this, and I am getting prescribed medicines for that because she was not able to help herself out. Now, by the time she was working at some metro city in India, she was able to get by herself. She used to do stores herself. But when the COVID happened, she went back to her retro city, okay? Back to her parents. You know what her parents said? That we are not gonna order these medicines at home because people will think, Hamari beti pagal hai. I'm just saying in Hindi what she quoted to me. And because of that, for 1.5 months, she was not able to take those medication and she went through a lot. Now, because of that, what she did, she asked one of her friend to get delivered to her home in some other city and then get it delivered in another package with a fake thing that, oh, this is a book or something to her. And that only that way her parents accept. That level of taboo is there. The thing is, sometimes it can be also a question of somebody's life. So we need to work on these taboos. We need to understand that it is another organ in our body. Just like our stomach, we have acidity, we take antacid. Just like heart, we take some medicines. With mind also, it's brain. Brain is a physical organ. If it's going through something, we take a medicine and it's okay. But there's another challenge to it. I will not take that question here. But there's another thing, that how many people medications are taking without any note, and what are the ethics around the therapies which are happening in India, and how people are being prescribed medicines without actually analyzing the right thing for the person. They are just prescribing it for the sake of it. So be careful to which therapist you're going. In case if you're going, change the therapist if it's not working for you. Don't take the medicine at the first go. Take first, second, third advice from different doctors and only then take it, because these medicines also do a lot of side effects on you, especially on females and as well as on male, hormonal disbalances and whatnot. Okay, and the dependence on these medicines. So that's another story which I'm not going to take today, but just wanted to give a highlight on that. So Lakshmi, I think we are done with the questions. I can do one question now, and other questions would love to have it on LinkedIn. Yes.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Thank you for this. So, one question is how to address insecurities in general, because eventually insecurities may lead to depression.
Oh, yes. Yes, of course. I think the sense of insecurity, we already talked about something about confidence, right? Insecurity and confidence, they are linked. Okay. When we feel insecure, there are a lot of stuff. And I could not, because we had so much to talk about, I have not taken that part. The trauma comes from a lot of stuff. It is just not coming from what's happening at the moment. What happened in your childhood, how you were being treated, school, bullying, home, the kind of relationship you saw, the attachment detachment styles at home, how your parents were together and how they were with you, everything impacts you. But again, as I mentioned, inner circle and the outer circle. This is outer circle. Whatever has happened to you, what the other person has done to you, even including your families, it's okay. That's not in your hand. You can't do anything about it. The inner circle, you understand those stimuli. Talk to somebody, journal it. Oh, this thing happened with me. This thing happened with me. Because you know what? How the brain works? Brain works like this. So if something has happened to you when you were very young, they will just it maybe a trauma happened, right? But for brain to feel safe, what it does it actually removes that memory from your conscious memory. It goes into subconscious. So you don't know what's happening with you, okay? But something happened. So that's why reacting in one particular way. So this sense of feeling that you will stay alone or any kind of insecurity of whatever you're feeling, it comes when something has happened in the past with you where you were actually in a very legit way you were being affected by it. So first of all, don't feel that, oh, this is a limitation with me. No, it's not. That's the way your brain is coping to keep you in the box of insecurity and not remembering that incident. That way, because when you don't remember the incident, like for example, something happened in the school or maybe happened in the house, a very big fight happened or something happened, and the brain stored the memory in a way that you only remember it was a fight. You don't remember what you felt at the moment, because brain can't be always on a the fight or flight mode. It's a very scary thing for brain. So it kept it at the back, but brain remembered one thing. If X happens, I have to do Y. So when you come in a relationship with somebody, when you grew up, something happened. And when that person said, oh, I will not tell you this, you're like, oh my God, why not? And the why, so the processing, there's no processing time. X stimuli, I have to give Y response. And you have no idea. It's not response, reaction, right? So insecurity comes with a lot of stuff. First, again, wear your weaknesses, wear your insecurity. It's okay to have any kind of insecurity. Every one of us have. Don't worry about it. First thing. Secondly, try to understand from where they're coming. Work on the source. It takes a lot to do that. Okay. Third, never feel that you're alone in the system. Honestly speaking, insecurities are something which sometimes help you to grow also. Okay. For example, if you feel like, oh, I know men who think that they're so timid, and they used to talk about that I don't feel like good in my body. I'm like, okay, fine. If you don't feel like that, you're perfect. You're perfect. But if still you don't work like that, eat more. Have more proteins. Go out for a jog. Go for a gym in a very balanced way. Don't make it an addiction. Again, in some cases, gym becomes an addiction for some guys. Trust me, okay? Because that's a validation point for them. You need to understand that balance, okay? Wear your insecurities. It's okay. We all have it. Someday you'll have one insecurity, other day you'll have another same insecurity. But that does not mean that you are not enough. You're always enough. With all the limitations and all the insecurities, you're always enough, because every person is feeling the same. Everyone here have some kind of fears. I'm for sure about it. Fear of losing people, fear of not being good enough, fear of this or that, being lonely. Everybody have some or one or the other thing. And it's okay to have. Once you understand that, I think you'll be able to look at insecurities in a very different. So this is from me, and thank you so much, Lakshmi. And would love to take more questions, but I need to go now. But if it is possible, if we can say hi again, like goodbye, maybe with all the faces. I think Sana is writing feedback line. Lakshmi, can you just write on chat my LinkedIn account?
It's already given, ma'am. I have already posted it in the chat box.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Lakshmi.
Yes,
And
ma'am. Yeah,
thank
yeah.
you And thank you, Rimpa and Lakshmi, for curating this. And loads of love to everyone. You guys are amazing. I'm really
Welcome, ma'am.
Welcome, ma'am, so much. Thank you once again for such a nice, a session. It was very wonderful session and very informative also.
and I think the audience were really amazing. I loved it. The way they interacted and everything. And even before that, the questionnaire, the way they filled the Google form, amazing. So I'm already proud of you guys that you're trying to take care of your health. So yeah, thank you so much and take care, everyone.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, thank you so much, ma'am. Once again, I thank you. Thank you for such a nice session and also sparing your time with your hectic schedule. Since you are also put up in Singapore, I would understand there is a time difference also. So thank you so much for allotting and 1 hour time for us. And we from and you also provided in-depth analysis of the subjects and shared some fascinating information. So we shall bide our time, and since time is a constraint here right now, so we shall bind our time for further such workshops in order to advance both our personal and collective knowledge. Additionally, I want to thank everyone in this attentive audience for their smart questions and active involvement. This event is considerably more meaningful because of your participation. So now, a good event never ends in the world. They take only a pause and keeps us awaiting for the next. All good things eventually end. I consider everyone as fortunate that they become a part of this workshop, which was full of knowledge, which makes difficult to say a goodbye to us. And please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channels and tag us on Instagram and hashtag SEMS.